Hello BookTube, this is a book tag video. I was tagged by Steve Donahue at his channel, and this is an original tag from Strip Cover Lit, this time Dalton. They've been doing some wonderful tags all year. Hard to keep up with them, but I enjoy them when I get a chance to see them. So this is called the Springtime for Dalton Tag, and yes, I do recognize the musical reference and appreciate it very much. And it's all about the spring. So let's get right to it. Number one, time of rebirth, renewal, spring. New author you've read this year. And it's surprising. I've read an awful lot of Revolutionary War history and American history. And I've gotten back into that in the last month or so. Read 4 or 5 books. And one of them was Decisive Day, The Battle for Bunker Hill by Richard M. Ketchum. It's wonderful. He's written a lot of stuff, and I don't know how I've managed to sidestep all his work, so I'll be going back to look for more. The best book on the American Revolution I read, and that was a wonderful book. The best book I read this month on the Revolution was by an author I've read many books by, especially his biography of Samuel D. Champlain. But that is David Hackett Fisher, and I read his book called Paul Revere's Ride, where I learned a tremendous amount about how the countryside was worn. It's a little more complex and a little more interesting than I had realized. So that was question number one. What is the best new book you've read this year? For fiction, for me, that was, and this is a part of a series that's been around for a long time, but I finally got to Final Blow Joe, I believe, is where I first saw a conversation about this novel, but I'm not positive about that, but I believe so. That's a good channel, by the way, if you're especially a science fiction or fantasy person. And the name of the novel is Consider Phoebus by Ian M. Banks, and it's one of those culture novels, and I really, really enjoyed it. So sorry about the squeaky chair, but I'm at my desk getting ready for a meeting here pretty soon. So yeah, I'd say Ian M. Banks, Consider Phoebus. I will be searching out the rest of the novels in that series. Number 3, what is your go-to book to return to? Now, Dalton and Steve mentioned The Lord of the Rings. I would and Steve added in Dune, both of which would be right up there with my first choices. I would go with I would have to say Hermann Hesse, Narcissus and Goldman, though. So, but the other choices would be right there. I would read those two. Number 4, what are your reading goals for the season of spring? Oddly enough, I've been reading an awful lot of comic books. I'm really into the new Conan volumes, Age of Conan, Savage Sword of Conan, Conan the Barbarian, all from Marvel. I've been reading Red Sonja. That's Dynamite Comics, I believe. So yeah, I've been getting back to that. So I like to find some old Robert E. Howard paperbacks or something somewhere. I've got some book sales coming up around the area in the next couple of weeks, and just dive back into some Robert E. Howard again. Number 5. What are your spring writing goals? I write grants. I write reports for trustees. I write nothing you're probably going to bring to the beach to read. But that's my part of the world. I do write poetry occasionally. I haven't in ages, and short stories. But I don't really do much fiction writing or non-fiction writing that you could sit down and entertain yourself with. So nothing in particular. I have my own little niche. Number 6, what is one novel that gets you excited for the outdoors? And both Steve and Dalton decided on this one to go with nonfiction, so they went away from novel. I would, and Barry Lopez would, I haven't read the new one like Steve has, but Arctic Dreams is one of my favorites. I love reading, I have a big thing with the ocean, the sea. I live in Vermont, so I'm not near the ocean, but I've spent a lot of my life at sea and stuff. I always really enjoyed Farley Mowat. Serpent's Coil, Whale for the Killing, just unbelievable output over a lifetime. A very interesting character. Our Canadian friends will know him well, and here in the States we do too. Excellent writer. Hard to read sometimes because some of the stuff he talks about is a little hard to read, but he's a very interesting fellow. Number 6, what's one novel that, that's what I just did. Number 7, reading outdoors. I spend a lot of time outdoors. I live in the woods. The minute I walk outdoors, I'm in the outdoors. But I like to hunt. I like to fish. I canoe. I really don't hunt anymore, just because of how life is. So I fish a lot, and I hike, canoe, all that sort of thing. But that's sort of normal lifestyle here where I am. I don't read outdoors much. I read outdoor books, but I don't sit outside and read. Once in a while on our little porch I will, but I tend to get caught up in things, go help my wife garden, or wander off with the kids into the woods or something. So I wouldn't say that reading outdoors ever works for me. I get too wrapped up in what else I can do out there. I have my spots in the house or at work or any of that sort of things where I'm more likely to have reading spots, and I do. But outdoors is not one of them. I used to, as a young person, do that, but I don't anymore. So this was an excellent tag. I'd love to tag a few people, and also I'll keep an eye out for whatever anybody else does. So I put down here PK's booked. He's back, and we're glad. Paperback Junkie. He's been spending a lot of time outdoors lately, and some of those videos are very fun to watch. Todd's bursting bookcase. Hi, Todd. Hopefully spring's hit you guys up there. And then Todd, the librarian, who is an excellent outdoorsman, and very, very much love listening to him talk about that as well as books. So hello, Todd, and I know spring's hit you down there. So yeah, that's let's see here, the Springtime for Dalton tag. And thank you, Steve and Dalton, and go enjoy the spring. Thank you, buddy.